When I arrived to KU, more than anything, I was overwhelmed.
10 years ago, Zalman and Nechama Tachtel started Chabad at the University of Kansas, KU. At their very first event, Charles Goldberg showed up.
It was a barbecue out in the back, and Charles was there and was super friendly, super talkative.
And at the time, what struck me the most was, here is a young man who has so much passion for life, so much energy.
Before going to college, my parents were always yelling at me. They were very, very upset with me. I was constantly dating non-Jewish girls. I was constantly doing basically everything other than my homework.
I must confess, his energy and his passion was in various different directions, many of them perhaps not the best extracurricular activities that a young man should be engaged with. But he had this incredible energy and incredible passion.
Here I am, I'm a lonely kid, I'm clearly insecure about my relationships. And here is a rabbi and his wife who is like saying, I want to be there for you. And that was wild. That was amazing. I had never met anyone like that before.
Awake, yet unamused. I'm undercover suffering and no desire to move. Mind tired being extremely leaving this room. It's just
Chabad became my life when I was in college. It was literally everything to me. It was my home, it was my support system, it was where my friends were, it was where I studied, it was where I grew and developed.
He would come on a Saturday morning, and it was just him and I in the very beginning of our Chabad house. We would sit together and we would just pray.
I would sit 5 hours and learn every single word in Hebrew. And as I was doing that, I was battling with my thoughts. I was battling with all the anxiety and the depression and the terrible things that were going through my head. The rabbi offered me a brand of Judaism that was applicable. It was a brand of Judaism that I could approach and use, and it was psychological.
Those moments of prayer ended up being the beginning of an incredible turning point in his life, where he took a grasp on his situation and became a successful student who graduated and made it to grad school, and today just passed the boards last week to be a psychotherapist.
Chabad helped Charles keep a better focus on attaining his goals, whether they be academic, relationships, and Judaism, to direct his energy in a more specific way.
I was a changed person when I left Kansas. I was totally different. The most important lesson that I learned from Zalman and Nechama is when you want a person to change, you have to do it with warmth.
Carry the weight till your back breaks. Bitter pricks, not as heavy as the shame that results from the strain. The whip hits, but my lips offer praise. The brain begins to shift into strength, just enough to sustain. But most don't believe in change. Most don't believe we'll ever leave this place. Heart in your heart,
the greatest blessing that a Chabad rabbi can have is when his own students become lamplighters to inspire so many others.
I'm a rapper, and Baruch Hashem, the past year and a half, 2 years, I've been touring Chabad houses all over the country, all over North America, and I've been telling my story through the rap lyrics that I've written.
Question my rabbi, and he replied smiling. The secret to the Jews surviving is during the times we were persecuted and died.
He has a program called Hip Hop Shabbat, where he shares his journey from a typical American secular college student, how he embraced his Judaism, how he embraced his Jewish identity, and how it cultivated him as a successful individual.
When Charles graduated from the University of Kansas, he continued going to Chabads wherever the community is in whatever state, and we were lucky enough that Charles found his beloved Dana at the Chabad in Chicago.
Basically moved from Israel by myself, and Chabad was the first place that I walked into. Chabad helped me tremendously with just locating an apartment where I can live, and inviting me in and introducing me to people, and obviously allowing me to have the opportunity to meet Charles.
And we just spent the last few weeks in Israel, accompanied by his Rabbi Zalman, who officiated over the wedding, and it was just a wonderful experience.
It was a moment that I treasure forever. I believe that Charles Goldberg is really a prototype, which represents thousands of young men and women whose lives have been impacted by Chabad on campus.
My story, as unique as it is, I'm not the only one that this has happened to. Chabad Shluchim on campus and Chabad Shluchim in general have done such amazing work. There are so many millions of stories just like mine. I could tell you that I learned more in my Chabad house about myself, about Judaism, about life, than I did in any of my college classes.
It was a wonderful experience for my son Charles. I know he's continuing with the Chabad experience, and I hope he does, because I've seen it to be a very positive experience in his life.